Going to be a bit controversial. There's a trend among health professionals, especially natural health professionals, especially chiropractors at the moment, and that's really emphasizing resilience in patients, meaning teaching people that they are strong. They can bend their spine. It's okay. They're not going to completely do themselves in or harm themselves by doing normal everyday movements, and getting it into their head that they are strong and their back is capable of doing this. And that's all great, right? But I'm going to say there's another side to it as well. So first of all, this move towards teaching resilience, I think, is a really good idea, because it's in reaction to the way that people used to deal with back pain. 20, 30, 40 years ago, it would be bed rest. Go and lie in bed, don't do anything with your back, be really cautious, you're gonna hurt yourself. And that just puts fear in people's minds. They don't want to do anything, and then what happens is you get something called a nocebo, which means that you kind of implant it in your head that this is going to hurt, and therefore it hurts. But also it makes you tense and it makes you frightened, and of course more tension, more muscle tension, more stress in the body doesn't do anything to help you heal. It just makes things worse. So yes, it's great to be teaching people that they are resilient, that they can bend their spines are okay to bend, and all that kind of stuff. But I think the phrase that I'd rather go with would be proceed with healthy optimism. Cautious optimism. Proceed with cautious, healthy optimism. Right, what do I mean by that? I mean, first of all, don't be afraid of moving. Don't be afraid of bending. But know that there are certain activities that are likely to set your back off while you're in the healing phase. Sometimes I listen to people talking about this, don't say anything that might catastrophize it to patients. Don't use words like ruptured disc or put your back out of place and stuff. And I get it, but sometimes I wonder if these people have ever had a back injury themselves. Right, when I was 16, I had a prolapsed disc, and that's what led me into doing chiropractic. And chiropractic really helped me, but I also had to learn myself through trial and error to bend properly at the knees, avoid certain sudden bending movements first thing in the morning. Those would set my back off. And these are the kind of things that I teach to my patients as well, because I've had first-hand experience of what it actually feels like to have these issues. And that sometimes when you've had an injury in an area, you need to look after that area. Yes, you don't want to be afraid of moving and bending and stuff like that, but you don't want to also do the obvious things that are going to trigger it, because then you end up even more despondent because you don't get better. So proceed with cautious optimism. So that means, yes, like I say, be optimistic that things can get better. They can probably completely recover if you look after it. But at the same time, you need to understand what movements might have triggered or caused or led to this problem in the first place, what positions, what things you might need to modify. So for a lot of people, for example, that's sudden bending forward movements first thing in the morning. Now that doesn't mean that if you bend over and pick something up and put your socks on and feed the cat, you are definitely going to hurt your back. It doesn't mean that at all. But it does mean that if your back's a bit delicate at that time, because you've had a disc prolapse, or because you've had a recent muscle spasm, or for any other reason, that it could be that just being a bit mindful about those movements is a good idea. So even now, I'm 42 now, I injured my back when I was 16. Even now, if I drop something, say I drop a towel or something, first thing in the morning, within the first hour of the morning, I'll just take a second and I'll just dip my knees down and pick it up, not in a frightened way, but just not in a sudden, not thinking, bending over, twisting at the same time, kind of movement, because I've learned through experience that that's the kind of thing that might make my back worse. So yeah, proceed with cautious optimism. Now, if you're not sure what that means for you, then speak to your chiropractor or your physio or your osteopath or whoever you're seeing. Ask them what the right kind of movements, what are healthy, completely safe movements they don't need to think about, or what kind of things might they just want to look at. What kind of things might you want to be a little bit cautious, a little bit mindful of, and move forward from there. Right, I hope that makes sense. Proceed with cautious optimism. And if you've got any questions about that, of course, stick them in the comments, and I'll see you soon. Take care.